Sorry we switched your schedule around a little bit. I was outside chewing the fat and talking to some people I don't get to see very often. But it's good to see a lot of familiar faces here. And is it not better? I can talk louder too. I'm kind of a soft talker. Sorry about that. No worries. So yeah, it's good to see some familiar faces, and I'm here to do the update today for the Maryland Department of Agriculture and Pesticide Regulation section. So we'll get started. I don't want to stand between a bunch of hungry people and Paul Gunther beef, if you know what I mean. So our staff, basically, our program manager is Rob Hofstetter. He's from Kent County. Rob's a good guy. He's been with the department for over 20 years. He's been around for a long time, and Rob's a great guy. If you ever need to talk in there, his phone's always open. You can call him, any of us, anytime. Enforcement coordinator is Kelly Love. She is also my supervisor, so anything I do, I report to Kelly. If I do an investigation, all the information that I collect during that investigation, I present to Kelly, and Rob and her come up with whatever fines or warnings might be levied, okay? Certification and training coordinator, Alex Lehman. So Alex is a good guy. He's been with us about 3 years now. We went through a few certification training coordinators. So whenever you have questions about your license, Alex is the guy to talk to. You can call me. If you have my number, I'm glad to help. I'll help when I can. Sometimes, a lot of times I'm on the road, it's difficult to do the things that are necessary on the road, but Alex is always in the office. But either way, call him or I, we'll work together and we'll get you taken care of, okay? I know that recertification and renewal process is quite cumbersome at times. And we have an inspector, Supervisor Bray is on the western shore. Our inspectors now are myself, Yapa, Stephen, Zach, and Billy. Billy's a new name. I'll show you a map here in a second to give you an idea where Billy is, and I here on the shore. And then in the office we have Jess, Hannah, and Ian is brand new. He's a nice young man and very helpful, and he's learning the ropes, so just work with us. Again, I tell everybody whenever I do these presentations, we have over 10,000 applicators in the state of Maryland now, and you know, there's 3 people in the office. So, and our whole staff doesn't amount to a drop in the bucket, but you know, use patience, we'll help you out best we can, okay? There's the map. So on the eastern shore here, you guys, I used to have the whole shore. Now we have Billy Carmen on the southern part of the shore from Dorchester South. Billy's from the ag industry, the chemical business, and he understands the ins and outs of what we predominantly deal with here on the shore, and that's you guys in agriculture, okay? The renewal process, that's our pest regulation section email address. You know, you can use that anytime. It's on there. Our office number, the 841-5710, that's the office number in Annapolis. Again, those ladies and gentlemen down bottom of that last slide will help you. Testing. So we have testing in a number of locations. Our testing here on the shore, which is every other month, coming up again in April, is Denton at the Extension office. Some of you may have people coming in for testing. You can do private applicators there as well. That's kind of the commercial test. We can sneak in a private applicator test there at any time. So if you have a youngster coming up or someone you want to have a private applicator's license, we can do them there. Jenny and the other extension officers here on the shore also have private applicators exams. We just did one not too long ago. So we do it here on the shore. Then there's Boonesboro out in western Maryland. Not a lot to deal with here on this side as far as that goes. And then Annapolis. Denton's always Mondays. Annapolis is Fridays. Okay, that's where predominantly most of you would do any kind of test or category update that you need. Denton this year, it's at the extension office with the exception of December. Okay, next December when we have our exam, the extension office has already been reserved, so we'll have it at the 4-H park in Caroline County, okay? We also have online options, very fast. The downfall to the online option is they're $27.05 a piece. So if you take a test online, it's 27 bucks. And that's not a charge that we charge. That's just a charge for the service charges that we work through, okay? COMAR 150501, this is what we base our regulations around when I'm in the field. Things I look for inspections and investigations, your records, all that's in here. It's available on our website. You can look it up and check it out if you'd like to. A lot of information in there. Pesticide applicator numbers. So again, we have 8,064 certified applicators, but a little higher up, we have 2,682 certified private applicators. So just keep that in mind. Like I say, use patience when you're dealing with us. 310 public agencies. These are your county roads, state agencies, things of that nature. Pest control businesses, 1,561. And then 192 restricted pesticide dealers. I kind of bounced around there a little bit, but I kind of try to concentrate on how many certified applicators we have in the state versus registered technicians, which will come into play here in a couple slides away, okay? Registered technician, somebody that works under your license. Pesticide applicator numbers. As far as your continuing education credits, they cannot be earned on an expired certificate. So if your license is expired, you cannot. But if it's recent, we work with people and work through you, getting you renewed, and then, you know, giving you credit for where you were. So we always work through that with people as well. If you're here, we'll definitely get you credits, unless you're, you know, a few years out, things of that nature. It's per basis, but just want to make sure you keep up with your renewals. Private applicators, you guys have to do 4 credits every 3 years, of which those credits can only be earned in the last 2 years of your period, of your renewal period, okay? So if you renewed this year and you're here today, you got to come back next year in order to get the credits applicable to your license, okay? But you still have 2 years to do it. Certified applicators, they need 8 credits for most categories, anything that pretty much pertains here today, but they will, they renew every year. Private applicators, you guys renew the end of the year on December 31st. That's the expiration period for privates. Certified applicators or commercial applicators, it's June 30th, okay? Those are the credits broke down per, basically just what I said. Renewals, it is online now. Unfortunately, we don't get the letter in the mail. There is a postcard that comes out. You'll receive that postcard in the mail. You'll also get an email. Postcards get slipped in, lost with our lovely postal service, but they will get in between flyers and things of that nature and get lost. So about a month and a half prior to your expiration date, I would be keeping an eye out for that thing. A few weeks before you're ready to expire, I would call. If you haven't seen that postcard, then I would give us a call, okay? I keep pointing at that. The back of the postcard looks like that. When you go through that renewal process online, you have to log in, all that information, and it is cumbersome. There's some tutorials on our website to try to help you through that process. If you're hung up, again, call Alex in the office or myself. If I'm on the computer, I'll be glad to help you or take care of it for you. Alex will as well. But if you are able to go through that process by yourself, the renewal code, that red number in the right-hand side, that is your renewal code. Once you have that number, it's the same, okay? So necessarily, as long as you know your expiration date, you don't need to look for this postcard if you know that number, okay? So I would take a picture of it, write it down, get a tattoo if you're into that, and you'll always have that number with you, okay? That's only for the real serious applicators that get the certification, get the tattoo. That's what our online portal looks like. This is the renewal when you go in there. That's the beginning stages of that process. Again, it's kind of hunt and peck and poke and prod, okay? But there are tutorials, again, you can watch. And what I did with mine, I had 2 computers available, so I watched the tutorial and went through it when I was first learning it. That way I'd just stop the tutorial and do the next step. This is a big thing, guys. These sheets, you've signed them. A lot of people have signed them. They're already gone. It's okay. The big sheets that you sign, a couple things. Number one, when you sign these sheets, please put your applicator number. If you do not have your applicator number, put the last 4 digits of your Social Security number. With your name and last 4 digits, we can generally find you pretty quick, okay? There's a lot of you and only a few people doing these renewals. It saves a ton of time, and they get so frustrated when they just have a name. There's a lot of John Smiths out there, if you know what I mean, okay? So just write down your name. Make sure you have your number. when you sign this sheet, this does not renew your license, okay? This only gives you, Jenny will turn these in, and that gives you the CEUs or the credits you need to renew your license. Those last slides that I went through with that website, that's where you have to go in and renew, okay? And again, call us if you need some help. We'll be glad to help. Applicator cards, you guys have them. Hopefully you need to carry those when you're doing an application. Chlorpyrifos is now prohibited in Maryland for all use, sales, and distribution. You can still have it in your possession. It's kind of like the Furadan a few years ago. You just can't use it or sell it or distribute chlorpyrifos, okay? If you have it, I'd look into a way to get rid of it, because eventually probably that will not be legal to have in your possession, okay? We did have a pesticide collection process this year. It's full. There's no more room left for what we had budgeted for. So hopefully next year we'll do that again, and that generally starts like at the end of September, 1st of October, okay? So just keep an eye out that on our website, or give me a call, and I can see what's coming down the pike and see if you can have some of those pesticides collected. Paraquat training, if you're certified, you need to carry your card, okay? Paraquat training, if you're doing any type of paraquat application, you also have to do extra training online. You can do that on the EPA or through some of the distributors' websites. Once you do that training, you can take a screenshot or print that out, but you have to have that with you as well too, okay? You have to have proof that you've done that training. Pollinator Protection Act, that last thing there, it's been around since October 1st, 2021. And it actually prevents the sale and distribution of neonicotinoid systemic pesticides to the general public, is what they're trying to do. And it cannot be in the reach of general consumers. You can only purchase that unless you're a certified applicator. And when I say certified applicator, it's kind of a general term. If you're a private applicator, you're a quote-unquote certified applicator in the state of Maryland. So Kurt hit on the herbicide strategies. You guys saw that. You know, if you have any questions, I'll answer them. But he did a good job explaining how that works. You know, it's coming down the road. It's going to be more prevalent all the time. We've always said label is the law. Label is not only law now, but it's necessary to do an application to learn if you qualify to be if you reach that point threshold for whatever product you're using to be able to apply it. Okay. Kurt had mentioned Liberty. That's a great Liberty. That's a Ultra. That's a great label to look and study and learn and do a process and think of a field and go through that calculator. Atrazine, there's more points. There's 6 points for atrazine. So as you can see, at first, when we first heard about that, it was kind of panicky because what you're going to have to do as far as some of these products. But as you can see, it's pretty easy to reach that point threshold, but again, just make sure that you're within the label of the law, okay? Draft insecticide strategy. So there's the herbicide strategy that's been enacted. The insecticide strategy is coming down the pipe as well as the rodenticide strategy, okay? These will all be in the future. There's information on the EPA website. If you use the search engine and just look, you know, herbicide or rodenticide or insecticide strategy up, EPA, all that information will come up. The big change here would be there's new C&T procedures that we're following to. Eventually all the tests are going to change. They're going to update the test in the next few years, so that'll all change as well. The big thing to take away from here is if you're a certified applicator or a commercial applicator and you have registered employees, they will not be able to apply restricted use pesticides, okay? That's coming down the pipe. That has been initiated. I think it's supposed to take place by July 26th, yeah. So if you're a farmer, you have a private, and you have family spraying under your licensed employees, ag is exempt from that, okay? It's only on the commercial side. So if it's your personal business in agriculture, you don't have to worry about that to the extent commercial applicators do, such as your your nutrients or grow marks, if they have registered applicators, they're going to have to be certified in order to, they need to be certified in order to spray restricted use pesticides. That's in rodenticide information. Labels the law again, okay? There's with the ESA, Endangered Species Act, and then there's also Bulletin's Live 2 that covers the PULAs. The PULAs is a pesticide use limitation area, something a little bit different. But if you'll go, as we go through here, you'll see Bulletin's Live 2 and how it works. There's a webinar available that's available at this website. And you can kind of get the inner workings of Bulletin's Live 2. I'll go through it with a little bit here with you. So these pink areas are basically PULAs, which is a pesticide use limitation area. They pertain to certain pesticides in that area and the use thereof, okay? So what you do is you get in there, this Bulletin's Live 2, you get on the map, look at your area, look at your fields, and see what PULAs may apply to the area you're applying in. Like these, I think, pertain predominantly to malathion. So if you're spraying a herbicide, it's not something that's applicable at this time. But these are forever changing, okay? Once you get in there, you click on that printable bulletin up in the right-hand corner. That'll give you that bulletin, okay? And if you print something like this in the whole shore and say none of the shore is applicable to anything you're spraying at that time, you can print that bulletin out or take a screenshot of it, but you have to have proof that you had that when 6 months prior to any application, okay? So a good for instance is right now those are the PULAs, and if you're spraying, glyphosate, you're fine as far as the PULAs go, okay? But if you print that bulletin out now, you're good for 6 months out. Okay, if you take a screenshot of it, you have proof that you looked at that PULA and there's nothing applicable to glyphosate. And this is just a for instance. This isn't happening, as far as glyphosate is, you're fine. But if the EPA suddenly changes glyphosate regulations in the 3 months from now, and just again, it's hypothetical, the whole shore becomes not available for glyphosate, you'll be in violation if you're spraying, okay? But if you printed that bulletin out and you're within that 6 month period, although the EPA may have changed that map, you've got proof that within 6 months prior to your application, you checked that, you were good, you're good to go, okay? If you have any questions, I can answer them too. That's what your bulletins look like. It shows the map, and then it shows you the products that are limited in those areas and what pertains to that information, okay? When you look this up on phones, it's extremely difficult because that fourth column on the right-hand side, however much verbiage is in that column or that first column, you'll see those two categories, those two products at the bottom. Whenever you do that on a phone, each word in that line is an individual page. You can download it by PDF. It gets a little bit better. But literally, when you're looking through a bulletin like that, you'll have to scroll through like 50 screens to be able to get through the whole thing. And trying to read a paragraph one word at a time, and every time swiping in between can get kind of cumbersome real fast. We had our regional training back in October, and I brought this up to the EPA. It's fine to have it electronically, but we can't, it's virtually impossible to read it when you're in the field, and their answer, they didn't have one. So I would just print those out if you can, or once you download it in a PDF form, it gets similar to this, take that screenshot and have it with you, okay? Field Watch, it's been around for a few years, guys. As private applicators or commercial applicators, you're certified applicators in the state of Maryland. You have privy to Field Watch, Bee Check, and Drift Watch. You can get in there, look around, see what's near your area, sensitive crops, such as vineyards, beehives, things of that nature. If the people register them on Field Check or Bee Watch or Drift Watch, they will be on here. They'll be on different icons. It's good to know if you're spraying up against someone's Leland cypress and suddenly they've decided to become a beekeeper, you'll know, and they've registered it on here, you'll know that those beehives are on the other side, and you might not want to spray in the middle of the day when the bees are out, foraging or or spray when the wind is blowing directly that way. Just keep that in mind, okay? Complaints and investigations, they're going up, guys. I don't want to see anybody doing this in a four-wheel drive ag machine, okay? And don't be doing wheelies, not with a Terragator either. This was actually taken with a Bing camera, one of the ring cameras, I'm sorry, on the front door of a lady's residence. We logged 47 cases in fiscal year 2024. As of February, it was we've done 22 cases so far this year, and we're not busy yet. We don't get busy till the spring. Not counting, those are not counting the complaints that we've had through mitigating the complaint through on the phone. So, for every one case we do, there's probably 10 to 20 cases where we try to avoid them by mitigation on the phone, okay? A big example would be cover crop in the fall with the aerial applicators. People are dying from wheat, okay? We've actually had pictures of wheat on their deck sent in to us before. And this stuff's going to kill me. No, you're good. You're good. With only 5 inspectors last year, we did over 900 inspections total. We do everything from, inspecting the businesses to use observation both on the ag and home pest side. We even get down into IPM in schools and make sure the schools are safe and keep the pesticide use to an absolute minimum around the children, okay? Those are the inspections that we do every year. I keep pointing and clicking. Guys, the squeaky wheel gets the oil, and, just keep in mind, people are always watching you. We have chronic complainers. We had one person who called into the department. I've told it 1,000 times. I've said over 1,000 times in the last few years. And 8 of the cases last year were actually filed by that one complainant. So every time they see someone in their development or down the development of the street or the state road spraying, she's calling, okay? So just keep that in mind, they're calling. But someone's always watching you. Make sure you're using your PPE all the time, and, pay particular attention when you're on a busy road. We've had people send in pictures of people loading beside the road, things of that nature, and want to complain, and there's nothing that they can do, thank goodness. So, they're doing what they need to do. And people with all their PPE on, they've still sent us a picture, so everybody's worried about what everybody else is doing. Enforcement update, that's a lovely little sign that we always bring up. Danger pesticides, of course, and down bottom of that sign, if you can't read in the back, says Department of Agriculture Inspector today, hide all the bad stuff. So that's kind of, it's kind of been tongue in cheek the last few years, but this year we did find a distributor that was actually distributing chlorpyrifos recently. So they're going to be hit with a hefty fine eventually. The investigation's still going on, but yeah, that's not good. Okay, so that's what we're out there doing. Guys, records. It's our most frequent violation. This is a sheet. It's available online. I have some usually with me. I'm not in my van today, but I usually have these with me. If you need some, just get with me. I'll make sure you get a copy of them. But this is everything the EPA and we require as far as what you need to keep on your records. You may want to look that up and just make sure if you've got the, in-machine systems that are keeping your records. Some of this isn't on some of those programs, so just make sure if it isn't, you're keeping that separate, okay? EPA number is a big thing that people don't realize. They'll write down glyphosate, whatever brand name you're using, common name you're using, but then they'll, or trade name, but then they'll, not write down what the EPA number is, or it won't be in that computer. So that is one of the things that we check for when we're in the field, because there's so many variations of glyphosate. Okay, I'm about done. Thank goodness. I'm on time. I was just a little late. I was here. I was just outside. I promise. Violations, agriculture-related violations are 30% compared to 60% statewide. Here on the shore, it's more 50-50, honestly. Maybe even leaning towards agriculture just a little bit more because we're predominantly ag. Statewide, though, that's the average. You guys are doing a good job. Records. When we inspect a business or do a field use observation when we investigate them or do those inspections. Again, records is almost 50% of the time. It's our most common violation, along with vehicle IDs are a big one, and then employee registration. Some of these businesses that turn a lot of employees on the home pest side, they won't have someone registered or will have not taken someone off of their list. Just report spills, guys. If it's any substantial spill, it says immediately report the department. And a big thing here to take away is if for some reason that you happen to spray the wrong spot, you know, applicators on the commercial side, if you spray the wrong field on somebody, let us know. You know, we can avoid a lot of things. A lot of times, believe it or not, does happen sometimes. We had a big, for instance, this past year, a lawn company sprayed the neighbor's lawn, not the customers. They immediately, when they realized it, they immediately called in and let us know. Lo and behold, the lady next door called the next day and wanted to file a complaint. We knew what had happened, what they had used, let her know what it would do, and worked the whole situation out. It's one of those mitigations that would have probably turned into a complaint had we not known that that application had taken place. So just communication prevents confrontation. PFAS bill, guys, it's, I don't know if a lot of you have heard about it. Everybody's focused on the solar bill today, but this is a big one. And yes, basically, as I can go into detail with you on the side as well, we're running out of time, and I know you're all hungry. Yeah, it's, the bill has been through the House and the Senate side. It's Senate Bill 0354 and House Bill 0386. And what it basically does with this bill, they're taking on Maine's definition of PFAS, which is pretty stringent. If it were to pass for the way the bill is written with the Maine definition of PFAS, at this point in time, the best we can tell, around 1,200 pesticides would become non-usable for sale or distribution or use in the state of Maryland. And again, bifenthrin would be one of them. Okay, there's as you can see, 1,200 products. We can provide you with this information, or I can. It just gives you the communication if you feel such you need to contact. But this period's pretty much over. They're commenting on it and reviewing the bill. I don't know where it's going to go to. I know the day that the bill was heard, there was a lot of good representation as far as why this should not pass from many distributors, private people, companies. There was a good representation and the facts and reasons why this would be a bad thing. And then the other side presented their presentation. It was a lot of heartfelt crying, you know, and while it's part of it, you know, we have to look at a business that, you know, how this would hurt agriculture in Maryland. These are some of the contacts that you could reach out to and get updates on. This is basically a little chart, and I don't know if this is the most updated one or not, Kurt, but on the, go ahead. Kurt wants to talk, sorry.
Yeah, we were able to take a few of these, reduce it down to, I think, about 14 fungicide, 27 herbicide, and maybe 18 insecticide active ingredients. But this is just a chart I made earlier this year. This is the herbicide classification chart without all those products missing, and then potential products we would lose. Now, to give you some examples of products, in corn, we would lose things like all the Acuron products, Balance Flex. In soybean, we would lose Reflex, we would lose Zidua, we would lose Cobra. So essentially, if you're trying to grow conventional non-GMO beans, you don't have anything for weed control. Zidua, active ingredient pyroxasulfone, is also an active ingredient in Anthem Flex, which is one of the only things we have to use to manage Italian ryegrass, resistant Italian ryegrass in wheat. And if you like to grow pumpkins, you would lose Curbit.
There you go. And not only that, from that, it leads into home products and things of that nature like dental floss. Yeah. carpet cleaner, the Maine's definition. They're fighting up in Maine now to try to push off some of these deadlines because it eventually works into HVAC equipment. We already are facing, we're already by 2029, we're not allowed to burn fossil fuels to heat our homes in Maryland. But what are you going to do once if this passes and HVAC equipment cannot be used? You know, good luck heating and cooling your home without those two options. That's just some more of the list. Again, good job. Thanks, Kirk. There's some pictures of them with the familiarity of the containers that they're in. We used to do recycling. We do not do it anymore. You can call him hopefully one day, Justin, at Ag Plastic Solutions. Hopefully we'll get that back in our program one day because we would recycle over 33 tons of plastics a year. Spotted lambfly, they're around. I've seen a few here on the shore. I'm sure you guys have too. Stomp them, report if you would. Just kill them, but you know, they seem to come through in waves and disappear pretty quick. Thank you all. I'm sorry it's a little bit long there, but if you have any questions, take a shot. Give us a call. Good to see some people. If I don't get to talk to everybody, I'm sorry, but good to see you all. Have a great day. Enjoy lunch.